So Oops versus Gunrunners here, the first map, the first round. Oops on the defense, Gunrunners on the attack. And how are both these teams setting up?
We can see the Light and Sigo and Unji are separating themselves, and they're going to scout the upper area toward the village. I believe that will be actually the end plan for Gunrunners to go toward that side, and they're probably not expecting a big push by Oops since they have Emil and a Tank Destroyer. So they're just placing several tanks toward the wood side.
Mojo, look at the Oops lineup. Some interesting names missing here. Camille.
Yeah, Camille is not there.
Insane.
Insane. Wow, this is really strange. Both Camille and Insane not playing. That's, again, not their strongest lineup. At least Mayland is back, so my fantasy points will do something, I hope. But Mayland is in this game playing a Bachat. We don't often see him playing that.
Usually playing TVP, Gorilla, tanks like that. But let's see if he can perform in the Bachat as well. I have good faith in him. And so far, just Milosh and Dani pulling each other out, and Jures kind of feeling out where the defense from Oops is set up.
Deha is the only guy on a 6th line with his Emil. I guess he will just work on his 6th sense. As soon as he gets spotted by something, he will know that a light or a medium is approaching. He's just going to fall back and give info to his teammates. It's not really realistic he will spot with a tank, but he will be in a position to play defense from the start. And also from the middle, they cannot really dig him out. And STRV, where Spoink is, you can see him, guys. He is behind several layers of bushes. And with that DPM and penetration, he can do quite a lot. We've seen when Utopia was attacked like that. That TD is just a beast.
Yeah, that DPM is insane on that STRV. Now, Unji moving towards the eastern side of the map here with Sigori in the bushes. I don't think 1-2 line is an option here from Gunrunners, Mojo.
It would be a super suicidal push if they try to do anything on 1-2 line, and I think they will switch on village side. Now, what's the problem with this? The problem is they have Dani in the middle of the field. That means if they rotate on other side, how will he cross? He's stuck there. And they will have to devise a plan how to play from the village side while giving him at least some protection. Because if he tries to cross the rail, he will be shot by most of the team of Oops. So that's a problem. And that's why I don't like when teams from the start maybe played too cautious, if you understand me. Because allowing themselves to get spotted like this without, let's say, already some aggressive approach from the other side means that Dani is stuck here and they cannot really rotate him. Like, that's a tank less.
And we'll have to see how Dani in that 1-1-3 decides to play it. Now, Will getting spotted out from Milosh as well. A nice shot from Milosh on to Will, but in return takes a big one as well and gets ammo racked. So he has to use his repair kit.
Storm connected on him. Was that a low roll by Grille or he was shooting HE grenade?
He was shooting HE.
It looked like that.
So he ammo racked him with HE.
Well, RNG is always present. Sigo coming back from the hill, but I believe he will start spotting more aggressive on the other line. And Oops are kind of closing in and approaching of them. It looks like they're actually feeling out that Gunrunners are doing the rotation already.
Yeah, but Spoink already gets spotted out there in the STRV, so they're going to have to be careful. They're sending him in first, Mojo. You think this is going to work?
It's actually a good idea because he has hard arbor on the front. He's a low silhouette. Will protect him from the flanks. And whoever gets spotted in the front will get sniped by Bachat.
Ooh, Ondrax seems to be the first one to get spotted. Sigo as well, taking some damage on the other side. Ondrax takes only one to get out of there. But now the lineup from Gunrunners is slowly getting surrounded here. Sigo actually goes down towards Decha and the Emil, so that's a vital pickup as well. Now Dani, you can see him getting shot in the side. Milosh is trading as well, but Dani in the 1-1-3 going to be the first. The second one down already for Gunrunners. Not before Milosh goes down to in the IS-7. So kind of an equal trade here. But positional advantage definitely for Oops.
I believe Milosh is proving in Oops this season he's a great team player because he's taking a lot of shots for his team in starts of the game. But this is a crucial advantage, I would say. Now Oops only has to follow up on this and pressure more on mediums.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Gunrunners are going to remove Decha from the battlefield here. Another tank down, and this HP advantage Mojo Oops had, it's gone. Spoink now under retreat as well, and Ondrax And Storm actually managed to make it out, so it's not all lost yet here for the lineup of Gunrunners. But look at Oops, they seem to be going for another counter push here. Martin desperately trying to get out. They go into abandon Will. No, Martin deciding to stick around. That's not going to be the best decision he ever made. As Silence comes over, Melan soon to follow. That bat shot won't last for very long, but at least Silence will go on very low HP as he picks up Martin. But now Will, well, let's just say he's done.
Let's see, will Ondrax and Storm actually manage to do something, but Storm is completely out of this game, so Anji and Ondrax are the only guys who can do anything about it. Silence is actually running away, and no one will be able to finish him off, and I don't believe Anji actually has angles to do anything about any of these players, like Meland is also on a lot of on low HP, but they're just not in position to do anything about it, and they're not sure how many shells the Oops guys have remaining.
Storm being out of this fight for so long, really costing Gunrunners dearly here. If he go 1 or 2 connections off, could have been some dead tanks. Now Unji going towards the north while Ondrax holds the middle. Unji, ooh, just about misses on Silence here. Only has 2 more left. It's enough to kill either Silence or Melan, but not both. And the dead zone and Algo still full HP.
I could swear Algo was actually damaged, but maybe I was mistaken. Obviously I was, because it was just the amount of shell that he was missing. And there is a push coming in over the rails, and Butcher of Gunrunners are falling. I think this is it, Aki.
Yeah, this round seems pretty over as Storm here in the Gorilla Mine 1 or 2 connections as he does onto the dead zone. A big shot from the big grill, but not matters at all as he is the only one standing against 5 tanks here from Oops. And some good counter pushes coming out from Oops, realizing the reloads from Gunners were not available on our Storm. Gets spotted, takes a hit, uses his repair kit, takes some more. That's Spoink from the back lines, even in that STRV. Nice shooting there. Picks it up even. There we go, Oops, 1-0 over Gunrunners. And that was, it came close at times, but the fact they kept going aggressive, I guess, saved them.
I believe the Oops actually brought all the right choices from the start. Yes, it looked a bit risky, but always the reload was on their side. So yes, they were losing some tanks, but they were always coming out to the reload and keeping the pressure on the time. If they didn't press with mediums, the moment they did over the middle, they would lose the game. Because if Storm ran away and they had only 1-1-3 on that side, they would be in a deep problem because a lot of butt shots from Gunrunners would be able to deal with them. But like this, they were always that one step ahead. And it started when 1-1-3s were doing the rotations and they were spotted and they knew what's going on, so they just pushed. If maybe, I would say, if maybe Gunrunners actually used that as a trap and showed 1-1-3 going on one side while keeping all the mediums in forest to snipe them, that would maybe be a game for them. But like this, they were just all over the place.
All over the place indeed, and not getting back quickly enough. Let's take a look at the stats, Mojo, because there we go.
Meland! Thank you! Finally. Maybe together with this day, the last day average of not showing up will be kind of okay.
I don't think so, Mojo, but at least Meland there in the batch chat doing
Let me live in my
decent
delusions,
amount
man.
of damage. Storm as well, but 1.5k really was damaged, but he was already out of the fight 1v5. So, yeah, all around good stuff here from Oops. No super carry, but Seago there and Danny in those 1-1-3s. Really not having a good day. Even Ondrax. Rip.
Well, interesting here, Oops is playing 2 games in this week, and GRS, this is their 3rd. It occasionally happens, so we could balance the number of the games, of course. And so far, Oops were not really great with their performance, same as Gunrunners. But in this game, at least, even without Insane and Camille, Oops is doing fine.
Yeah, I really wonder where Insane and Camille are because they are vital parts of the team. Insane, their leader throughout last season.
Camille is one of the best players.
Not 100% sure what's going on there.
We'll see.
Need to ask.
We will see. We will see in interviews. We will see. The time will tell and everything. But so far, Oops is more than capable to deal with Gunrunners, at least on this side of Prokhorovka. Now they have to attack.
Yeah, and I think Gunrunners should be able to hold on the defense of Prokhorovka. I mean, it's a bold statement to say that, but it has become the more advantageous side, I'd say, between equal teams.
I would say with the addition of Swedish line, with tank destroyers and Kranwagen as a heavy, it's much harder to attack on Prokhorovka now than it was before. because additional cooldown, DPM, and armor is really adding up and slowing game a bit.
Mojo, you're going to be very curious when the lineups come in. Let's take a look at them. You get to explain me this one.
Well, Oops is playing something I would say is the recycled Ding tactics from the previous season with Object 140s. They used to play it while rotating.
It's hard to pull off, though.
They were playing it with fast rotations from left and right when they will feel where the enemies are, and then they would position Object 140s to shoot the enemies while they're coming back. And Gunrunners are not using any of the advantages of the Swedish line. They're playing with two IS-7s. We've seen teams play with two IS-7s defense, and I honestly didn't like it. It was static, and it didn't really work out.
It can work against the 140s, though, because they will struggle to pen at certain points. So perhaps.
Still, IS-7s are not really a formula when they need to relocate over the map.
No, they are not. But so you're gonna give it to Oops then? The second round here?
Well, I prefer what Oops picked, but still, both lineups are not what I would take anyways.
So they don't have the seal of approval, but let's see if Oops can pick up the round or Gunrunner is gonna make it all even as we go into the second round of Prokhorovka with Oops attacking, Gunrunners defending, and Oops want to make it 2-0 at this point in time.
We shall see how will this go. I would say it's a bit risky if they go only for a forest here, especially against two I7s, which really have nowhere else to play. And there we go. Both of the I7s of Gunrunners are going toward the middle with some protection. One Bachat and Ru in the forest line, which is something that we've seen many times by different teams. It's not like they invented
Look at
it.
Seago, look how aggressive he's going.
We've seen actually even that, but wow, he was really actually lucky that Algo didn't see him.
So
that was like 1 millisecond, and that bush toward the middle covered him in that moment.
Insane stuff here from Gunrunners. This is very aggressive in the bushes.
I think we've seen yesterday a play like this also.
It's still super aggressive in the bushes. And now these I7s peeking around the middle, and they will have very, very early info. Now the question is if this Oops is going to smell out this RU-251 or it's going to work out for Gunrunners. There's not a lot of fire to back Seago up though. There's just Ondrax, and that's it.
Yeah, I would say if they really start pushing there, that's not going to be enough. But they're probably relying on scare factor. Because when you get spotted so early, you will expect there is a bunch of tanks there. So that's why all those tanks on the other side are more like a real play and a trap. Everything else is something like a ruse. So this is a bit risky by Gunrunners because they are weak against a strong attack there. But of course, Oops does not know what is displacement of their tanks, and they will be guessing based on where are they spotted.
But if Gunrunners pull off this rotation though,
they will be in huge advantage. But if Angie and Martin get spotted before time, then they're dead. So it's kind of a risky play, but the one that actually may pay off.
it could indeed pay off here for the lineup of Gunrunners. You can see the I7s just trying to make some peaks, and I'll go in the style now if Ungi and Martin take all the way to K8, and then trouble is going to be on Oops' side.
Let us see how it is going, because all the plays must come from the Oops. I mean, Gunrunners already took their positions, and they should be patient now.
You see IHE coming out from both these I7s, 330 onto Milosh. That's annoying.
How would someone like to have 1 or 2 more degrees on that I7?
Oops, going for 1-2 line push, Mojo?
Yeah, but without a heavy tank in front of them, okay, they have Object 140s, but still, I wouldn't call them the battering ram of this game. So Algo will do the first push, suicidal push even, maybe. But since there is not much people to shoot him, there we go, Seago is pretty much deleted from the map, while Algo is just hop down in a trench and fade there. So now this play of Gunrunners can crumble a bit, but we will see what will the mediums on the flank do.
Yeah, but Unji and Martin actually pulled back for now. So Martin now going aggressive towards the rails, but it's a little bit late. Almost. I feel like it's a little bit late. They were afraid. Now Unji desperately getting over there as well, but Will and Danny needs to be careful. But they actually get Algo. Danny.
How did that happen? That's really strange.
Where was the RU even?
I really have no idea how did he get shot. I mean, he was not even on that low HP. And Oops is slowly going
look,
on the other side here.
Look, he got spotted, I guess, and both the IS-7s connected. Great stuff there. That is going to be annoying for Oops as well. You always think that tier 8 light tank doesn't mean much, but it's very vital for the later stages, isn't it?
Yes, because you can always YOLO him and shoot people like we've already seen, or you can use him for a cap, back spotting, relieving positions from tanks you really need in a firefight, which is something they don't have now. Now, if Martin and Anji were here together from the start, honestly, they could have even clipped one tank. But Martin being alone, he was hesitating to do it, and that was a correct choice because it's better if he's not spotted from the start.
These 140s are now driving up. Let's see how much damage they take. Melan takes the first shot. Not much else coming in. Deja takes one as well, so 2 shots taken for that crossing, but this is just adding on top of the HP that Gunrunners have available to them, as now Spoink and Silence are taking the 1-2 line. But Gunrunners already rotated out of there, and with Will and Danny in the IS-7s, this becomes a good position for them again.
Yeah, it is. It's actually a great position because I7 is super hard to penetrate here, and Oops doesn't really have tanks that can deal with Will there. I mean, the only way for them to really deal with him is to push him.
And
then
stuck.
They would be open for a counterattack, yes. And Milos cannot really join them because he will get shot in the back. So that's what we were talking. This is kind of an old lineup, and even Ding, when they were playing it, they played it much more aggressive to get opportunities for those Object 140s. They were not playing it so super slow from either of the sides. So I don't know why did they really pick to play this, but now they will have to devise a plan how to deal with Will, because any kind of push over the rail is out of the question. And the only play they have left is toward the 1 cap, and I think Gunrunners are more than aware of that.
Yeah, they have that I7 Will in the bushes, so if the cap gets started here, then there should be enough tanks. But Mojo, perhaps they're going to go for a straight push over, because it looks like they're posturing up for that.
It's gonna be super risky because the positions of Gunrunners are actually quite good. Simultaneous push on Will and maybe on Storm down might work. Yes, they are gathering up, obviously, and still Milos is far away from them, and he will not be able to join them at all, at any moment.
Yeah, but it seems like there's a little bit too many bad shots, even almost out of the fight here for the Gunrunners lineup. Storm is going to be the only one to support Will right now as the dead zone comes over, followed by Silence's IS-7. They did not seem to expect this from Gunrunners whatsoever. Look at the damage taken. It's only on the GRS side. They lose Will. Storm goes low. Great counter push from Oops.
Nonsense play by Gunrunners, keeping a guy on a hill. Anji is just coming down from the hill now, and they're not ready for a counterattack. This is a moment when you need to do a counterattack. When those budgets are down dealing with IS-7, they were already supposed to be in their faces. But Gunrunners completely misplayed it. Look at this. They're now 1500 HP down, and they were 1500 HP up. And they lost all the positions they had so far.
No support for Will, turning into a disastrous trade. Storm dropped low, Will went down. This is just not what Gunrunners wanted. And a nice connection there from Danny onto Silence, but Storm is going to push on him. How is Oops going to play this out? Because they have now gotten towards the rails. Milos is pushing up as well. And they're starting to close the distance here.
And now Milos is finally joining the rest of the team. It was very smart not to try to push him earlier, because he would just die in vain and for nothing. But it does look Oops is playing a bit more cautious and planned this day. At least against the Gunrunners, because Gunrunners are giving them some openings they're using well.
Some unnecessary peaks here coming out from Oops. I think Spoin just uses repair kit. Silence had to use this repair kit as well for peeking over, and Milos just going to push in with the IS-7. Let's see how this one goes for him. Danny connects the shot, but he should be going down here. And he's second towards the 140s. Milos is still alive at this point as well. And if they can take down this IS-7, but Silence going low in the meantime as well. Danny can get one more shot off. Still alive. 140 struggling to kill him. They finally do it. They remove Martin at the same time, but it's still a close game here. It's 3v5, but the HP only 900 away.
Unforgivable how much that IS-7 survived their melee and is pretty much wrecked. He has 2 crew members dead, Gunner and the Commander and the Namorek. It's really bad for him. The only person with high HP is Anji, but Anji is not really in favorable position, being there up on a hill. Once he lights up, he will be everybody's prey.
Milos might actually make it back over the rails. There we go. He actually does manage to get all the way over, so that's good here for Oops. I mean, that IS-7 now in a hold-down position, with really no bad shots to counter him, but no heavy tanks to counter him out. Ondrax is going for the very, very long rotation, but Deja seems to be smelling that one out as well. And with 37 seconds left on the cap, what does Gunrunners do?
Oh, only thing they have left. They need to push in. Unji goes first. He prays for RNG. He will be missed. And everyone else goes after. We'll see that moment will come in a couple of seconds.
And here we go. Unji now goes over. Only takes one shot on the crossing, and it wasn't even from the dead zone. The dead zone now goes over towards the other side, and more damage coming out on towards Unji here. Minus 1.3. Deja sniping from the background. Storm took one as well for his trouble. Now Unji needs to get despotted because Deja will be able to kill him if he doesn't. Unji now driving into the cap because it's down to 4 seconds, down to 3 seconds, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be a reset from Gunrunners. Oops! Picking up the second round here on Prokhorovka. Okay.
Fairly good. Fairly good. Oops winning here by the cap here. 2-0, taking entire map. I would say the play was good at the end, more than it was during the game itself. But again, I don't like the lineup they took. It proved to be risky, and if Gunrunners actually play their cards well, they would actually win this. Because this was only the opening they gave them. When a team positions like Gunrunners did, it's normal that they will leave a heavy tank in a bushes there, because you cannot really cross the rail and decap when it comes to that. So Oops expected that, and that push was not blind at all. It was a planned one. They expected to meet someone there. They took him out, and you could already see they were pre-aimed towards Storm's position. So both of them paid a heavy price, and there was no Gunrunners teammates to be found anywhere. Anywhere.
Not sure what Gunrunners was doing there. Unji so far up the hill that he couldn't support. I mean, they had to punish, they had to trade, and they only traded badly. I mean, they took a lot of damage on the STB, they took a lot of damage on the rest of their tanks as well, and Oops then continuing, winning the round. But let's close out this one by looking at the damage done. The dead zone.
Dead zone carry. Well, we cannot say anything bad about this one. He actually played it quite well. Even that last push when he was on low HP was smart, but he just ran into Storm, who was waiting for something like that. Still, it was a smart play in that moment. Spoink the return, the last guy who returned to the team. Then Deja and Milos in his i7. Not some huge amounts of damage here. I mean, more than 3,000 by Deadzone and Dani, but that's about it. Everyone else did more or less average.
Yeah, Mayland here doing okay. Not too bad. I think I have Mayland and I think I have Lotion in other team. But he did okay, but he got wrecked when they pushed over. It almost went badly for them when they didn't manage to kill Dani quickly enough.
That was horrible because they even received one more shell by him.
Yes.
So one more tank got really low on HP. And they wasted 2 or 3 shells that bounced on the guy who had like 50 HP or something like that, which is quite... And he was even tracked. That's quite a nonsense. But these things happen even in Gold League, not only in randoms.
I never struggled to penetrate an i7, Mojo. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know, man. Why are you not playing anymore?
Too
good for the game?
Too easy. Just too easy.
Wow. Americano.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But now, Mojo, next map, Himmelsdorf. You said that is the map where Gunrunners have taken one round of every single team so far. So perhaps this could be the map where they come back.
Yeah, I believe the Himmelsdorf is the map where Gunrunners actually have the highest chance of all to do something. But so far they were taking only one round, never two. And to come back in this game, one is just, you know, enough to linger, but not to come back in the game. We'll see, will they play something normal or again some weird actions?
Well, it depends who's defending first, and Oops is attacking first, it seems like, so there's that. So at least they can pick up the defensive round without Fox. Let's see if they actually don't have any Fox, hopefully. Let's take a look. No Fox, please. There we go. FE 4005, probably played by Dani, but Oops. Mojo, triple 50B.
This is more or less standard Oops lineup, only i7 is not something they usually pick. They would take usually their Grile or something like that faster. But this is a bit sturdier. Gunrunners playing with that FV 405. Yes, Dani was playing it last time and he did some damage actually in exchanges. But I noticed when he played it quite risky, even taking some unnecessary shots. forgetting that this TD is just a big card box with a huge gun. So I hope he will play a bit more careful because his play here will be actually a crucial one.
Armor non-existent on this tank whatsoever. IS-4 coming out again. Seems like a fairly standard from Gunrunners, doesn't it?
Yep, pretty much. I would say, I mean, they at least didn't pick two FV183 TDs this time, and they have rotation power here in 50Bs and a Bachat.
Well, let's find out if Oops can make it 3-0 or Gunrunners is going to start their comeback right here, right now on Himmelsdorf.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad, but in general, the attack can be successfully executed through any part of the map. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers with powerful guns run the show here. However, a lot depends on the mobile light tanks.
This is not the game you were looking for.
Obviously, and you're definitely not people you were looking for, but we are still here.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah, I really don't like these restarts, but they do happen occasionally. Some problems with whatever internet and whatnot. But I'm sure he will be back in the game quickly enough.
Hopefully. Because now they messed up my show, you know?
You can do it again.
No, we're not doing it again, Mojo. I don't know. I think Oops could win this round, but I think they can lose it as well.
That's a brilliant
know,
deduction.
I think Oops can win, but I also think they can lose.
I would never think of that myself. That's for sure.
I know, man. That's why you got me.
Yeah, support analyst. Thank you.
The brain, the...
Yes.
I don't know. I'm still thinking about that one. No, I mean, because when they have played Himmelsdorf, I really haven't been that impressed by them whatsoever on it so far. They've played a lot of risky stuff. Remember YOLOing down the 8 line when they played against Gohard and such. I don't know. Just seems whenever they play it, I don't put that much faith in their Himmelsdorf.
Well, if we will see, will Oops play too fast for their own health, or will Gunrunners actually play too slow, as they know, for their own health here? It's going to be quite a clash on that. It's really surprising. We are watching today a match between a 7th and an 8th team in our league. No one would expect Oops to be there. And for Gunrunners, we could not know, of course, before the season started. But here we go, and both of them do desperately need points, so Gunrunners at the moment even more.
Yeah, Gunrunners needs to start picking up some points. Oops needs to put themselves in the top 5 at least for what their lineup they have. But the game almost ready, Mojo, so we can continue. That's enough from us. So let's take a look at the first round here on Himmelsdorf with Oops currently up 2-0 on the attack. Gunrunners going to be trying to hold on desperately on the defense.
Let us see what is Oops planning so far. So normal light tank and support 50B going up, I would say. And the rest of them are just spreading around to check out are the Gunrunners maybe rushing them or something like that. Usually if you would have a Grille or some other TD, he would go up with a light tank. But in this case, 50B is an obvious choice. Gunrunners, on the other hand, are trying to dominate the rail first. This is quite an usual opening, though we saw some teams play toward the hill lately since the Swedish line was introduced. This is not something you see normally, 1390 spotting from here. It would usually be a heavy tank with a hard turret, but Gunrunners are kind of lacking of those. It's only IS-4 who is quite slow. And there we go, Danny's picking up a first shot already.
Yeah, Danny taking the first connection here. From who was that?
I think it was Miloš.
It could have been Miloš, indeed.
And he had to use a repair kit now, because his Amorek was toasted in the first shot.
Yep, rip Danny there. But Gunrunners here, Mojo, just having a standard opening, and same for Oops, really.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary for us. I would say maybe a bit more aggressive play by Spoink there already going, but he's probably not expecting anything smart like pressing in immediately from Gunrunners there, because their lineup is kind of restricting by its own. They only have like 2 50Bs and a Bachat who can do it. So that's not something you can really risk to send without support from the rest of the team. And there you go, this is the 8th line push slowly going by Oops. Here Silence got spotted, so he has to pause because no one really wants to get shot 5 times in a flank while you're going. Deha getting spotted, Silence Did he even fade? But no one is aiming.
No, nobody seems to be.
And Rico is constantly spotting him from that 3-line, 2-line, 3-line gap. But
Danny is aiming though. Danny is aimed for a possible crossing by anybody. Let's see if he can get the shot though.
it will be interesting to see.
He makes the connection, not enough though, 662, and takes a lot of damage in return onto that FV 4005. So a small bit of damage there onto Silence, but Danny...
So far nothing significant, but equal exchange in HP. Will is waiting on A5 position. That's a standard position either for IS-4, we've seen E5 use that, or the Swedish line lately, Emil 2 Tier 9 or Kranwagen. But there you go, cap started. Light tank from the inner side, 50B from the outer. This is also quite normal with tanks supporting from the back, waiting for anyone to cross over the corner. And Gunrunners are mainly focusing their defense from the top side, so it's going to be a shootout on that corner.
Yeah, trying to get a hate sheet reset there with Storm, but Dead Zone backing off, so he's not going to take any damage for that. Unji now going towards... Ooh, Danny actually making a blind shot there as well, not connecting.
I think Deadzone noticed that it was an FV shot, so that's why he came closer now. To boost the pressure on the cap and make Gunrunners' reaction more hasty. When you are forced to play hasty in this way, especially when you have an FV heavy and FV TD, you are kind of susceptible to taking damage that you really don't want. And look at this, 20 seconds and they still have two guys climbing the hill. So it will be a huge shootout down there and Gunrunners will be outgunned.
Will be Will that comes in for the reset. He gets instantly tracked in his IS-4, gets tracked again, minus 1.8. The 50Bs, can they pick him up? One more shot. There goes the IS-4. He's down already for a desperate reset. And now Gunrunners are forced to make a commitment as Storm comes around the corner. The 50Bs are almost on reload though, so the Dead Zone's going to be the first focus here from the guys from Gunrunners. He will be going down. So a trade made. Dead Zone for Will.
But I will make one note. Look how Deadzone positioned his 50B so he could protect the other guys so they can play the cooldown behind him. This is a counter-attack coming from Oops now because they are on reload and they really don't have what to stop them with.
Danny is aiming there on the corner as well, though. If he can make a big shot in the FVTD, Deja now picks up Storm. Ondrax on the run as well. He drives into Algo though, but it's just Algo in the tier 8 TD, in the tier 8 light tank. Danny goes down. That's what I was meant to say. And now Martin Ondrax dropping low. Miloš pushing forwards. It's all Oops. It's all Oops for them. It's all over for Gunrunners at the same time. With 4 tanks left standing, I don't see a recovery.
No way from out of this. I mean, Anji, yes, he's on 100%, so is Enrico. But two of them, to win this game, it would have to be more than glorious.
Don't know if Danny connected anything in his FVTD. I doubt it. I think he should, but he didn't. Now Deja almost off of reload. Enrico is like, well, what can I do? What am I supposed to do now?
Click, 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 and yeah, about that.
Mailand pushing up to Unji for some extra damage.
Come on, Mylando, do all the
Mailand
stuff.
versus Unji 1v1. Mailand should be able to win it. Unji is on reload now. Mailand picks it up 3-0. Oops versus Gunrunners. And this round, I don't know. I really don't know. Sacrificing in a complete IS-4 for this?
Nothing out of the ordinary in these games. We can not even say there is some super specific tactics we've seen so far. Oops is just playing something I would call even standards. And Gunrunners are just one step behind always. They are just not able to counter any of these plays. So not even the best coordination between them. You could see the part of the team was even late in a fight. And by that I mean a 30-90 and Anji who went uphill. So they were completely off and they were fighting 5 against 6 there on a cap, which is never a good thing. Especially since they lost one tank IS-4 in a first push. Immediately he was focused out. And yes, they did kill Dead Zone after, but then Oops just came back out to the reload, chased them in, and that was pretty much GG.
Yeah, I was really thinking Danny could have maybe made a big connection onto one of the 50Bs when they came around the corner, but there was none.
He penned no big shots. It was always a couple of 100 ones, and that's it. Like, when you usually watch an FVTD like that in biggest teams, played like, I don't know, by slide or someone.
Yeah, when they do that counter push, he removes one of the 50Bs.
Yeah, he's like 1800 someone. We've seen nothing of that here.
Well, let's take a look at stats and see exactly how much was done by everybody. Unji here, the first Melan the second, Milosh the third. Well,
Good for you, even good for me. But Anji is doing that damage mostly late, so not when it was really important. Actually, it was pretty much over by the time he started shooting. So yes, he is first, but we often said just not there when it's supposed to happen.
the dead zone coming in there as the last on the first page, and then Algo actually doing more than 5 players from
Algo
Gunrunners.
doing more than Dani, that's kind of bad, man.
Yeah,
Like
Danny
a
only
30-90.
1.3. He hits 600 on Ceylon, so that means another like 700 hits. Should have hit one of the 50B, should have removed somebody even, but you could see the tactic there from Gunrunners was questionable as sacrificing Will for all of this. It would have been better if they just left him on A6 in the beginning. He was hiding A5 the entire game.
Again, this tactics with Ice War, that's something outdated even for last season.
Yeah, but at least if they left him on A4, he'd be able to reset.
Yep. Well,
Oh, on A6, sorry. They left him on A5 behind that for no reason. Well, rip.
well, it didn't work out really well for Gunrunners here. It's kind of kept an obvious statement. And I'm hoping that in attack they will have something better planned, because so far Oops didn't really even have to open their cards and show us anything special, and it's been quite enough. And even without Insane or Camille, it was still enough.
Well, Mojo, let's take a look at the lineups and see if Oops gonna make it 4-0, Gunrunners gonna make it 3-1 as we move into the second round on Himmelsdorf here, E3 and Waffenträger. I've seen this before.
Yeah, we've seen this actually a couple of times before, but Gunrunners playing with FVTD, Kranwagen and Grille. It's not a lineup you really want to play over the rails, but in the same moment, it's not really a super hill-oriented lineup, especially with this I7 who will probably push the 8 line.
That's what's going to be playing the Waffenträger of Panzer IV. Interesting. I'd say you put your best sniper on that usually.
Are you doubting him?
Maybe, but let's go into the second round on Himmelsdorf here. Oops, 3-0 on the defense. Gunrunners on the attack. Yes, Mojo is the answer. I mean, I don't think the Dead Zone is the best sniper in that lineup.
Well, he was a Melandis for sure, but Melandis at the moment on 50B, and I don't know, Dead Zone was connecting his shots at least today in all the games so far. Oops is pressing toward the rail. As we already said several times, this is kind of a standard opening for most of the teams because he's the one furthest away from the cap, and pressing toward the hill is usually too risky and it cuts you away from the game tactically, so you cannot really rotate back if someone takes the rail. So this is a normal opening. Spoink will check out if someone pushing here, but as we already stated, Gunrunners don't really have a rail-orientated lineup. It would be quite hard for them to press there and have anything like a successful opening.
Ceylon's probably playing with binoculars. We saw Swift use this before. We saw them also use the Waffenträger of Panzer IV, if I'm not wrong. So a little bit of a similar. And then Deja, Melan there in the 50Bs to shoot the 8-line crossing. Oops has done this before, but now I guess they've added the E3 after seeing how it sometimes works for Swift.
You know what does kind of strikes me here? Example, Gunrunners do have that Grille, and they have an FV405. Why are they not trying to blind shoot some of the positions like that where Ceylon's is or Dead Zone? There is always a possibility, and you do know that tanks like to be there. They could always like try to just blind shoot it without even getting spotting any kind of spot there.
Unji now on the hill has to be very careful on that Grille, because if he gets spotted out, I don't think the Dead Zone should have any issue connecting that shot onto the grill.
You were doubting his sniping abilities.
I'm just, no. I'm just saying that is one of those tanks you need to connect every single shot on, pretty much.
Yes, with that gun, with that precision.
Which
it's
is
really
you put
imperative.
your best sniper.
There
That's
you
not,
go.
it's not saying Dead Zone's the bad sniper.
Will is pressing the 8 line as we predicted on a start, covered by Storm. Actually, majority of their team is going there, so only Kranwagen and one of the TDs are on the hill, and they will join them soon, I believe.
Ooh, Sinan's actually did not connect the shot against Storm, so that's a big miss there from that E3. Unji gets spotted out on the hill. Some shots coming in towards him, not connecting so far.
There was only one connection on
That is not
on
enough.
Will
Not
when
enough.
he passed, and it was by probably Dead Zone. In that moment, no one else. There is a big rotation by Oops coming from the lower village here.
Look at Danny and Onjax.
If they have a really good shot in the start, it will pay off. Otherwise, Dani will just die because Ondrex cannot really lean down and shoot. I mean, since introduction of physics, if you really try to lean a tank to shoot down, you just end up nose down and you die.
Well, let's see, because Spoink is going to be coming very, very close to Dani here together with 350Bs. And they have to be careful as well, because he just needs to spot them out even for, you know,
really risky. Look, Martin's position here. This is something counterclockwise what Kazna was doing yesterday with tier 9, Emil 2 from the other side of this same position here.
Most important factor right now is Dani in the FVTD. If he can connect the shot on Algo, but Ondrax already gets spotted out here. He's going to have to run. He takes the shot. And Dani is now coming around the corner. This is not the ideal setup here. He comes around, doesn't connect the shot onto Melan. That is very, very crucial again. Now Deja, Melan, Algo will be pushing forwards, removing Dani. Again, another shot, another one not connected. He's pointing backwards. It doesn't matter. He's dead. He's gone. And now Ondrax might take some on the way out, but he should be fine so far. Silence takes some more in the E3. Ondrax actually takes some more damage. But this was bad, bad, bad.
I believe this was the fault of Ondrax actually here, because he was not supposed to get spotted so easily. And they were supposed to wait for that rotation. He forced the hand out of Dani to come out around the corner, and he hit tracks again instead of the body. The counter-attack is coming here, but the cap is still undergoing.
Yeah, but the cap got reset there from the dead zone, so good stuff. Melan now clipping on towards Will. He'll be going down. Oops is taking again the massive advantage in this round. Will goes down, Martin goes down. And that is just it for Gunrunners. Again, not connecting with the FPTD, really costing them so much. Dead Zone got to reset onto Enrico, which was very vital as well. He sniped our Cupola, so good shots coming out from him there. Now Unji, Ondrax, and Enrico with it all to do, but there's no way out with 7 tanks left standing for Oops.
There is a lot of wolves in these games, and I would not say the Gunrunners are one of them. Again, split all over the place, and again, not making it work. Deja is pretty much the only guy who picked up the tab so far, and he paid for all the fun. Maybe Unji will be able to get someone else if they're greedy enough, but no. Spoink is coming in first.
Spoink comes in, rams Unji. Unji wants to get around the corner. He will, but Silence is there waiting in the E3. 4-0 here from Oops, and that could have maybe worked from Gunrunners, but
execution again.
Two
again
very
execution.
obvious mistakes there. Like
again execution, again bad positioning, again spread out all over the place without a really big focus. What are they gonna do in a match? I mean, you are guys now in a gold league. You need to brush up your act and really think hard. What are you doing wrong so far? Because this is not going well. I mean, 4-0 already for Oops, and Oops are also a team who are struggling with their act heavily.
Yeah, and I think this
says a lot.
I think this could have worked. With Dani there in the FETD, I really think it could have possibly worked. But one, Dead Zone got a nice reset onto the RU, which was very important. Second off, Ondrax got spotted first, so Oops was kind of like, huh, what's going on here? And then Dani had to peek with the FETD. So I think it would have been better if Dani just sat there at the corner and Ondrax hides behind the corner. Dani makes the shot, connects, Ondrax peeks out, kills and runs away. Then you trade 1 for 1, but not like this when Ondrax gets spotted first.
Again, bad execution, bad coordination.
Just a little bit of nonsense, but let's take a look at the stats from the last round.
Anji, 4k damage there done from the hill. Not bad, but it's rather well. Deja, Mail and Dead Zone, Milosh, Silence are the next guys here, so that pretty much says the story. And then we will have the remainder of the GRS boys. Simply not enough, and one shot with 405 done by Dani simply will not cut it.
Nope, it won't cut it indeed. So Deja there doing well, Meland as well. But then Martin in the Kranwagen 0.
And he actually fired the entire clip.
He was trying to shoot at the IS-4, not connecting much though.
It's really, really a lot of misplays here. I wonder what will happen now, because next map will be Steps, and Oops are playing defense. And Steps are honestly much more defensive lately than they used to be, because a lot of guys are doing the boost. Well, oh wait, we will see will Oops do it.
Well, Spoink is back, so it shouldn't be an issue for them.
Okay. But last time he got pretty much annihilated by artillery when he climbed in his RU, and he was like, oh yeah, I can decap this endlessly. Bam, one shot. So we will see how will this happen this time. Maybe he kind of saw the replay and I should not pick that much.
It depends if Gunrunners is bringing RT in this one as well, or if they're just choosing to...
Yeah, we will see what will they play.
Well, we can see what they will play, Mojo. Let's take a look at the lineups for the maybe the last round even, and RT is available here for Gunrunners.
So we do have an i7 and RT in Gunrunners side. I believe this i7 you have binoculars as usual combined with combat rations. On other hand, Oops is playing rather standard with one RU tank, and they are playing with a couple of Bachats, i7 and 113. So nothing really new, stylish, fashioned. It's just old school defensive steps.
Old school defensive steps, but let's see if Gunrunners will be able to connect with that RT. That's going to be the interesting factor. And if they even go towards that side, i7, maybe with binoculars like we've seen it been used before. And actually, let's find out if Oops will make it 5-0 and take the match. Gunrunners will pick up at least one round as we move into steps.
Steps, the most open map in the league. The attacking team appears near the rocks at the bottom of the map, and the defending team starts at the top. Bases are located near the railway and on the green. The best way to control them is to use the lowland near the second base. The attacking team usually begins the attack from the rocks and the railway, but sometimes they can attack through the green. Teams often drag vehicles from flank to flank, so both teams usually pick light vehicles with a good camouflage rating, but sometimes use tanks with a strong turret and even SPGs.
Well, Oops versus Gunrunners 4-0 here, and Gunrunners, Mojo, are not actually going for the eastern side in the beginning.
This is so much a landslide of a match for the Gunrunners. They are going for usual opening, going toward their left on a map. And Algo is the one supposed to climb here, and it didn't happen from the first. We will see. I think Spoink is going to do the harder climb there, yes, on A2, A3. Let's see him. He's gonna do it. He's just gonna do wiggle, wiggle there.
Spoink should be able to get it.
But will he get spotted?
No, probably won't, as Ondrax takes some damage over there. Spoink actually making it all the way up before anybody from GRS gets close enough to spot him out.
Not really best spotting there from Gunrunners, honestly. And that's actually quite a big mistake. There we go, Algo is doing this faster approach here. Will he make it in a second time? No, third time a charm. You have a lot of time since there is no one on that side of the map.
Let's see if Gunrunners figure out that Spoink is in that position. We have seen him play this multiple times. We have criticized him multiple times for getting spotted way too early as well. It costed him very badly.
He should never ever get spotted. I mean, it's far better to let team just take positions below you and then appear when they need you, above themselves the least. Like when they start the cap. Then you just peek and you don't even have to shoot. Everyone else will do the job for you. There we go, boy.
Third time's a charm, Mojo.
There we go. 1 minute and 40 seconds in the game, but still the job is done.
I don't think Gunrunners team aware that there is a batch up there. Let's see if they can do the climb though with the 4 batch train. Choo-choo.
Well, on the other hand, was Dani trying to climb here?
He's going to try. No, he's not going to try again. Yeah, he is going to try again. He'll come around the rock and then drive up on the side through the bush. Not that bush, but the next one. There we go. No, he doesn't even
Kind of
close.
missed it. You could see it on the screen, man, already. Well, Silence and Milos are actually picking up the damage from the party. Why are you hugging each other with the heavy tanks? Come on, guys, you don't do that even in random games.
It's a very nice shot there coming out from Sigo, sorry.
And Spoink is spotted again.
Why does Spoink get spotted? I don't know.
Storm is there below him.
Okay, maybe RT will be able to connect on towards Spoink now.
We'll see. He needs to wiggle there, but
Spoink.
Storm is a problem for him, a huge problem. And he took quite a lot of beating there.
He's getting shot by Algo in the RU251.
Yeah, but you know, Algo can be annoyance, but not really a solution.
Spoink is now driving towards the Sigo, lets off a shot, and he connects! There goes Spoink, talking about Arti, talking about how Spoink is not safe. He goes down. It was once more Spoink on a different mountain this time, but the same result.
No mountain is safe for Spoink. And again, Oops loses him really early on steps. I think, mate, you should really appreciate the fact that you should not get spotted so early.
Every time Spoing gets spotted. Every time. And now Milosh is already forced to drive forwards, but mate, I think this is going to be hard for you. He gets tracked. Sigo is almost off of reload as well. He's aiming. Let's see how much he can connect onto Milosh. He lets off the shot. There we go.
Oh.
736. Ammo rack and driver. Milosh quickly to repair. And Sigo is already sitting pretty on about 2.5k damage at this point in time.
About even more maybe because of that double shot. on
800 plus 700, 1.5 plus
700.
1k on Spoink is 2.5. Yeah.
Not good for Oops in this game. This is the best opening possible you can imagine with playing with RT game on steps, because removing one of the high position spotters and having teams so much pinned down as Oops is at the moment, the only thing that can happen is like some bad reaction by their mediums, and they get annihilated if they're doing some bad push or attempt on a cap. So honestly, if they just let Sigo work a bit more, make even more advantage, and then do any kind of pressure, that should be their easy game, and maybe they can attempt to come back in a match. It's not unheard of.
No, it is not unheard of indeed. They have to work. They have to work themselves through this first round here, though. That's what they need to do. And Sigo, I think he might have a small angle towards Milosh. We're gonna have to see if he can connect that one.
Even if he splashes for 100 or 200, it's more than fine.
Well, I think he actually has a small angle towards him because Milosh is trying to work off of that rock. Oh, Sigo, if he takes the shot, Milosh. There we go. The shot comes out. Oof. Close, close.
Yeah, but you know, when you shoot the shots like that, they can end up like 20 meters in front or 50 meters behind. You never know.
They can also end up in his engine deck.
Always a possibility. But it would be better if Milosh was actually spotted, then he would actually have a higher chance of hitting him. But they know they cannot wait endlessly. 4.5 minutes till the end. They do know Algo is up on a mountain. That's quite easy to guess. And I believe Dani will try now to proxy Milosh or some other targets for artillery piece.
Yeah, I guess he's going to try and proxy as he comes off reload. Is Dani actually going to push in? Yeah, he pushes just straight in towards Milosh. Now that is crazy. He's taking so much damage for this. He goes down.
What was
Dani,
this?
a full bat shot for no reason whatsoever.
Well, if this gets in 5-0, you will know why. This is the straight reason. I mean, even if you disconnect, this would be a bad play. Wow.
Rip Dani trying to push a IS-7 by himself. He did some damage towards Milosh.
Really? Well, this is as bad as it gets to throw a butt shot like this for no reason whatsoever. If you really wanted to press Milosh, the only way to do it is to move RT down on F1 back, supported by the butt shots, and then you just shoot him down with RT. Why would you risk a butt shot in a play like this to get an info that there is butt shots covering him from down? Yeah, well, thank you.
Well, Unchi seems to be going for the same thing almost against Milosh here. Milosh peeks up, goes safe quickly as Storm gets spotted out as well. Unchi just proxy spotting for Sigo right now, I guess, as the rest of the batches are taking the south here, and Melan seems a little bit in the open. He's forced to go away there. Unchi picks up Milosh, but Melan was in trouble here. He takes 862 because Dejo and the dead zone were rotating. And now the bad shots from Gunrunners
There will
are
be a big
moving
counterattack.
back.
There will be a big counterattack, I believe, by Oops now up. Anji and Storm will be in a problem. There is no one actually able to help them if they get pushed.
Well, Unji seems to be running as the dead zone, and Deja just coming straight across. Dead zone takes a big shot already on the move. Deja, dead zone now standing still. 1, 2, no, actually just 1 on towards Unji, so he'll be alive. But Storm, I don't think he's going to fare much better as the dead zone gets tracked here. Storm gets pushed on from multiple sides. Sigo is almost reloaded though, so perhaps he'll be able to make a trade as Storm goes down. Sigo almost off of reload. Let's see what the rest of the batches can do at the same time as well. They're focusing on towards the dead zone, who's desperately trying to run away. But Silence, he goes down. So the trade is actually still in favor of Gunrunners.
They're still doing well. I believe that Oops kind of a bit slipped there while pushing, but Melen managed to take out Martin in return. And this is the last charge of Cavalry here, because if Gunrunners don't make it work now, this is over. The time is almost up.
Yeah,
1 minute 45.
With Unji and Sigo in the cap.
Yes, but they still have an Algo who can throw down the mountain. They have positions to go from the left and right. They don't know where Oops is. They have to kill someone now.
They have to kill someone now. Indeed, Ondrax and Enrico are going to continue pushing forwards, but Enrico already gets spotted out by Algo, and that is disaster. Ondrax now forced to run away. Nice shot from Enrico on towards Algo, and don't forget RT is also a factor in this one. If he can make some connections towards that area. Algo now peeking out again.
Oh, he's so
tracking
annoying now at the
Enrico.
moment for them.
We have to see. Ooh, another big shot taken though onto Algo that makes him very low HP. Now the Dead Zone and Melan trying to do what they can. Deja pushing forwards on towards Enrico, but Ondrax is coming around the corner as well. Unji and Sigo, they are spotted though. So Melan from the backlines picks up Sigo in the RDPs, and the Dead Zone picks up Unji as well. That's cap pressure removed, and that should be it in this round with 50 seconds left, and Algo is still alive. Gunrunners, they've thrown it.
The complete throw in a moment when Dani suicided. A complete throw of a game they had 100% under control. I really don't understand it. Like a bit better decision making at that moment would so help it. And there you go, the final moments for Gunrunners in this match, which will end up in a clear 5-0 victory for Oops.
Yeah, I mean, that round was Gunrunners round.
Why? I will have to ask him. What was on his mind in that moment?
I don't know, maybe